Lecture number 2, how to minimize a Boolean function. One way to minimize a Boolean function is through the use of map method. The most common map method is the Carnot map method or key map. Key map is a graphical device used to simplify Boolean algebraic expression or to convert a truth table to its corresponding logic circuits in a simple, orderly process. Key map was introduced in 1953 by Maurice Carnot as a refinement of the Edward Witt's 1952 charts, which actually patterned with the 1881 logical diagram called Marquardt diagram by Alan Marquardt. This Marquardt diagram is focused more on its utility for switching circuits. So there are different types of map or how we have to use the map. It depends on the number of variables. So the first one is if you have two variables, so we have two variable map, three variable map, four variable map, five variable map, six variable map, or n variable map. For your two variable map, so it means we have two variables. If you have to construct a truth table of two variables, you have four input combination from 0 up to 111. And also it means that if you have four input combination, we have also four outputs value. So we have to draw four square in your map because we have four input combination. So we have four cell. Then for the first column, it is for 0, and second column for 1, that is the same as your row, you have 0 and 1. But we have to change these binary numbers in terms of your variable. We have A and B. So for the upper side of your map, it should be on your variable in your right side, and the left side in your variable on the left side. So upper side is the variable on the right side. Left side is this variable in your left. So we have B bar, B for 0, that is A bar, and 1 for A. Next is to put your Y or your output inside in this cell in your map. So if we have this cell, it belongs to A bar, B bar. So it means that is YO. The second cell, that is E bar, then B, that is Y1. Then we have your E bar or E B bar, that is Y2, and we have EB, that is Y3. Then for a three variable map, so we have three variables A, B, C. So it means we have eight combination of your input from 0 to 7, or we have 8 output value from Y0 to Y7. So we have two ways how to draw your map. The first one, if we have four columns and two rows. So in their four columns, we have a pattern to follow. The first column belongs to 0 or 0, 0. The second column belongs to 1 or 0, 1. Then you have to jump the last column, that is 1, 0 and 1, 1. So it means there are four combination in this column. So it means also that you have two variables for this upper side. And your left side, it is 0 and 1. So for the upper side, that will be for your B and C, and the left side for your A. So we have to change that binary number in terms of variable. So we have B bar, C bar. We have B bar, C. Then we have BC bar and BC. For your row, we have A bar and A. Then this is the location which belong to your A bar, B bar, C bar, or that is 0, 0. This is your YO. This will be your Y1. This will be your Y2, that is E bar, B, C bar, or that is equivalent to 0, 1, 0, or 2. This is 0, 1, 1, that is 3. This is 0, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The other way to draw your map is to have a 4 rows and 2 columns. So we have this pattern 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 to the last, and 1, 1 in your third row. The upper side, you have 0 and 1. So since we have this in your side, which is equivalent to 4 rows, it means you have 2 variables. So for this side, that will be your EB, and the upper side will be your C. So we have to change that in terms of the variables. So we have E bar B bar, E bar B, EB bar, and then EB. Then we have C bar and C. For the location, we have 0, Y0, Y1, this is Y2, this is Y3. This will be your Y4 because we have A, B bar, C bar, or that is 1, 0, 0, or 4. This is 5, this is Y6, and Y7. For your 4 variable map, we have 16 input combination and we have 16 output value from Y0 to Y15. So it means that you have a 16 square or 16 cell in your map. So we have a 4 by 4, 4 column and 4 rows. So to do the pattern, we begin at 0, followed by 1, jump to the last column, that is 2, then 3. In terms of row, we have 0, 1, then jump to the last row, which is 2, then 3. You have to change this in terms of your variable. So your variable EB will be your side, variable CD will be in your upper side. So remember, if this is the way how you put your variables, so the left side will be for your left, and the right side for your upper side. So we have to change this. So we have E bar B bar, that is the same as C bar D. If you have EB bar, we have CD bar, and if you have EB, that is CD. So this is location Y0, Y1, Y2, and Y3, Y4, Y5, Y6, and Y7. Then this will be our Y8 because we have A, B bar, C bar, D bar, or when we have your 1, we jump to this row for your value, which is 1, 0. So that is equivalent to 2. So therefore, this will be your Y8, Y9, Y10, Y11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. For a 5-variable map, so we have 5 variables, and it means that we have 32 input combination from 0, 0 up to 31 or 1, 1, 1, 1. And there are also 32 output values. So there are 2 ways how to draw your map. First, you have to draw the first 16. Then you have to put your second 16 either in her side or below the first 16. So first, we put that one in the side. So if you have to count the number of columns, there are 8 columns. So it means there are 3 variables in your upper side. So if you have 3 variables in your upper side, it means that C, D, E is for your upper, and for your left side, that will be your EB. But first, we have to get a pattern. This is 0, 0. This is 1. This will be your 2, and this is our 3. Then next, because it is how Carnot developed this map, then after this 3, we have your 4. This is your 4. We have to jump to the last row, the last column. Then we have your 5. Then this is your 6 and 7. Then for your row, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. Change these binary numbers in terms of the variables. So upper side is CDE, the left side is your EB. So we have EB or B bar, C bar, D bar, E bar. So we have this one. Then EB, we have C bar, D bar, C bar, D, E. Then you have C, D bar, E bar. CD bar A, CDE bar, then CDE. Then for your output location, this is your YO, Y1, Y2, Y3. Remember, if this is our 3, we jump to the last column for your 4. So therefore, this is your Y4, Y5, Y6, Y7. This will be your Y8, Y9, Y10, Y11. Then this is your Y12, Y11, Y13, Y14, and Y15. Remember, when this is your 1, we jump to the last row for your 2. So this now will be your Y16, Y17, Y18, 19, Y20, Y21, Y22, Y23, Y24, Y25, Y26, Y27, Y28, 29. This is your Y30 and Y31. Another method, if this is our per 16, then the other 16 is below. So we have now 8 rows. So since we have 8 rows, it means that we have 3 variables. So for this side, in your left side, that will be your variable A, B, and C. And since we have 4 columns, that is DE. So the same pattern as what we have in your 8 columns. So this, for your 8 rows, we have 0 and 1, then 2, then we have 3, then we jump to the last column, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then for your value, you have to change that in terms of your variable. Then for your y, so that will be your output y. And for your 6 variable map, this is our 6 variable, we have 64 input combinations. So we have 64 cell in your map. So in writing your map, we have 416. So we have 8 columns and 8 rows. So this is the pattern. You have to follow the pattern for your columns and rows. And after that, you have to change that in terms of your variables. After completing the variables in your side and your upper side, then this is the location of your y. So we have y63, or there are 64 square. So how to use the map? So if we have this 4 variable, then this is your row table. Since we have 4 variables, so we have to do 16 square. That is 4 by 4. And the variables in your column and row, based on the, we have your variables written in your row table. So you have E, B, C, and D. So we have E, B in your side, and upper side is your CD. Then after that one, you have to get the symbolic form of your expression. So that is summation of 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, and 14. Why we have to use summation? Remember, in your min terms, a value of your min terms equals to 1. It means that you have a true value. If it is 1, you have to use min terms. So since it is 1, we have to get the value of your y as 1. So we have to use the summation sign, or that is sum of your min terms. Then we have to put your 1 in the first cell that we have, which is 2. Then we have 3. Then we have 6. We have 7. We have 8. We have 10. We have 12 and 14. So that is how you put your 1 inside in your map. So the best way is just only to get the value of y which has equivalent to 1, and that value will be the one you have to put in your map. So then next is how to group your 1. So that is by 1 and by 2. So this is an example. So first one, it is a group by 1. So that is your group 1. It is a location where your A, B bar and C bar, D bar combine. So that is your equation is A, B bar, C bar, D bar. Group 2, you have a common of C, D bar. And you have to OR these two, 1. So row 1 and row 2. So we have E bar, B bar or E bar, B. So between these two, we have B bar changes from we have B changes from B bar to B, so the meaning is E bar. For group 3, we have a common of E bar B, then we have column 3 and column 4, we have to order two columns. Then the D is changes from row value to complement, so we have only E bar BC. Group 4, common is CD, then row 2 and row 3, E is changes from complement to true value, so we have BCD. But group 3 is a redundant because this group 3, one of his value is used by group 2 and the other one is by group 4. So therefore, your y is equals to G1, G2, and G4, or y equals to your group 1, this is your group 2, and this is your group 3. Then for a 4 variables, so this is an example of your 4 variables. But if you have to use what we did in our previous slide, it is too complicated if you have to use that one. So there is one way, a short way, how to solve for your uh, value of your group or the equation of your group. So if this is our map, if we have to group column 1, row 1 and row 2, then we have A bar will remain. So since B changes from complement to B, then we have row 3 and 4, we have A. Then if we have row 2 with row 3, we have B. Row 1 with row 4, that is equivalent to B bar. Column 1 and 2, C bar. Column 3 and 4, C. Column 2 and column 3 is D. Then column 1 and column 4, that is D bar. So back to this example. This is our first group. We have two columns and two rows. Between two rows, that is row 1 and row 2, we have E bar. Column 1 and column 2, that is C bar. So we have E bar, C bar. Second row or second group, we have E bar B as common, and we have from row 1 or column 1 going to column 4. So between column 1 to column 2, that is C bar. Column 2, 3 to 4, that is C. Then we have to OR, it is equals to 1. So remaining is E bar B. Then we have C bar D because you are using all the rows. And we have your output is E bar C bar or E bar D or C bar D. Then if you have a group by 8, so this is a group by 8. If this is our first group, then that is E bar. Second group, we have to overlap to the map in order to have a bigger grouping. Then that is equivalent to D. And we have to roll the map. So this side, we have to roll to the lower side. So we have a group by 8. And that is equals to B bar. So your output is E bar or D or B bar. As you can see, when we group by 8, from the 4 variables, we have only one variable remain. If we have to go back to your group by 4, from 4 variables, we have 2 variables that will remain. And if we have group by 2, in your group by 2, we have 2 variables. We have group by 2, we have three variables remain, so it means one variable was eliminated. If you have group by 4, if you have 4 variables in your map, there is no variable will be eliminated. So group by 1, no variables will be eliminated. Group by 2, one variable will be eliminated. Group by 4, you have two variables will be eliminated, and group by 8, you have three variables will be eliminated. And if we have to group your 1 by 16, it means you have 4 variables to be eliminated. So if this is group by 16, so this is an example of group by 16. So we have this by 16, it is equivalent to d bar. So remember, there are 5 variables in this map. So since 5 variables, we have 4 variables will be eliminated. So the remaining variable is only 1, that is d bar. Next, for this one, if you have to look the number of 1, if you have to group this, there are 16 1. But in grouping, if we have 16 map connected side by side, you cannot do a grouping of by 16 without looking first the number of 1 in each map. So in this first, if we have to count the number of 1, we have 12 1. And the second map, you have only 4 1. So in making a grouping, if you have two map connected, it's either side by side or if it's lower, you have to maintain a number of 1 which is equal on both map. So we cannot do a group by 16. What we're going to do is you have to group this by 8. That is equivalent to A bar C, and another by 8 that is equivalent to B C bar. So therefore, your output for this one is equals to D bar or E bar C or B C bar. That is your Y. Another one is this type of group. So this one, if you have to roll your map from this side, top to lower side, so we can group this one with this upper side. And then if we have to roll this to this side, so it means that this one is connected to this one, or it has, or this side is connected to this side, so you have a group by 4. So therefore, your Y is equivalent to B bar, D bar. So we have this example. We have to find the expression of this example. So since it is a summation, so it is a product, or this is a sum of min terms. So it is equivalent to Y, or your function is equals to E, B, C, and D. That is our function. So since we have 4 variable, then we have to draw 16 square, and you have to put the value. So we have 1 at 1, we have another one at 2, at 4, 7, at 8, at 11, at 13, and at 14. Since there is no adjacent one, which is vertical horizontal, so we have to group this by 1. So this is our grouping by 1. So in your first row, we have a common of E bar, B bar, and you are using your column 2 and column 4. So we have column 2 and column 4. So this is your second row, column 1 and column 3. This is your third row, column 2 and column 4. This is your fourth row, column 1 and column 3. So between these two, it is an expression of an X OR, whereas this one, expression of an XNOR. So therefore, we can rewrite that one as CX or D, and this one C XNOR D. Then the common, if we have to get your common as CX or D, we have E bar, B bar, and EB. So we have this another expression derived from this one. With this, our common is C XOR D and C XNOR D. Then this is an expression of an XNOR, and this is an expression of an XOR. So we have this expression. But if you have to let your X as your AX or B, the complement of XOR, remember, is your XNOR. So this is your E XNOR B as your X bar. And if we have to let your W as C, X, or D, so therefore your W bar is your C, X, nor D. So we can rewrite that one as X bar W or XW bar. And this is another expression of an XOR. But remember, your X is E XOR B, and your W is C XOR D. So therefore, your Y is equivalent to A XOR B XOR C XOR D. And that's all for our lecture number